Hi everyone, welcome back to another Ask Amy. I'm really excited to be back doing this Ask Amy session because it's been a few weeks with the enrollment period for the Little School of Big Change, which was last week. It ended last Thursday. The weeks leading up to that, I was doing webinars and I was on here on Facebook Live doing all kinds of question and answer sessions and all kinds of stuff related to that, which is super fun. But I love diving into these questions that you guys send. So I'm really excited to be back kind of in the normal everyday of things, taking your questions. On that note, if you have questions, please send them to askamy@thelittleschoolofbigchange.com. And yeah, meet me here every Monday at 1 o'clock Eastern to see my responses. And I love doing this. So today's question is from Robyn, and it's a little specific, but not really. So I'm going to read her question. It's going to sound kind of like, whoa, that's a specific question. But I chose this, and I want to speak to this, not just for Robyn's benefit, but for everyone's benefit, because although the details are really specific, the specifics are specific in her question, I think that we can all see a lot in this. It really speaks to a much bigger issue that everyone is up against, everyone deals with in different ways. So let me read her question, and then I'll say more. So Robyn says, thank you so much for all your writings in the Little School of Big Change. I love it. Thanks, Robyn. In all your work, you stress that our feelings come from within us, that other people can't make us feel anything. And I really want to know this and believe it. But what about when other people try to insinuate themselves into our experience, for example, by tracking our location or by stalking us? On the one hand, I'm very angered by this, and I have to say it's very, very difficult to feel safe in your experience when this is happening. But on the other hand, I can feel how this is derailing me and my own creativity also. I'm living very much in my head, constantly changing my passwords, etc., and it's taking up way too much of my headspace, and I want to be free of it. Can you help me shed some light on this, please, and for anyone else in this situation? So you see what I mean? Like, I'm guessing and hoping that no one else listening, or hopefully not, no one else listening is in this kind of situation that Robyn's in. And Robyn, it sucks. I'm so sorry that you're going through this and that this is happening. I really feel for you. And you're absolutely right. I mean, I think we all know if we were in a similar situation, absolutely it would be difficult to feel safe in our experience with this level of stuff happening. No question about that. So it's okay that, we don't feel safe. It's okay that it really, really looks like something that's happening out there is creating our moment-to-moment feelings. That just means we're human. And that's true in more extreme cases like this, and in every single day, all the time, for everyone. It looks like things out in the world bring on feelings because they're paired together. You can very easily sit at home and you start feeling insecure and your mind is racing, or maybe you hear something or something happens related to this situation that you're in. And it totally looks like, pops in your head and just looks like, if this wasn't happening, I would feel different. That's true, maybe. If that wasn't happening, if you weren't being stalked, yes, like you wouldn't be sitting there fearing being stalked, right? That's an absolute truth. I'll give you that. But what we do innocently, what we do is our mind takes that and says, therefore, I'm feeling the way I'm feeling because of what's happening. And that's the part that's off. That's where we have room to see this in a bigger way. So I hope that makes sense. It's that therefore little piece I want you guys to just kind of take in and sit with. Yes, this thing's happening in the world. And yes, you're thinking and feeling all kinds of stuff. But we make it a therefore, we make it a causal connection. We say, therefore, this is causing my feelings. And that's the part where we innocently go wrong. And again, every single one of us does all the time. I do all the time. Everyone I know does all the time. But when we see how this works, you start to catch that more and more. So Robyn, what I want you, and for everyone, again, if take this out of this kind of specific circumstance and apply it to anything in life, for you, Robyn, to start to look toward is right now, naturally, your mind is looking toward how you feel, all that insecurity and fear and how uncomfortable it is, and your mind is spinning, you're in your head a lot, you say, and the content of your thinking, which is all about this person who's stalking you. Take that and see, okay, there's thought happening that brings you that feeling, that insecurity, that fear, all of that stuff. The person's doing whatever the person is doing. When your mind goes there and that is brought to life is when you feel whatever you feel. When your mind doesn't go there, and I hope that, I know you have at least fleeting moments of this, I hope you have more and more moments of peace, of your mind not denying it, not saying this isn't true, none of that, but just times when maybe you're even thinking about what's going on in this circumstance, but there's a different way, like you're just seeing it in a different way, I guess, without it feeling so terrifying. Or maybe there are times when your mind isn't there at all. The circumstance is the same, the person is the same, life is the same, but we feel different. And that's the thing, that's where we can all start to look, to start to break apart this kind of false causation thing. It's a correlation, but it's not a causation. So we can start to break apart that false causation that our mind draws, where we say, oh, when my mind goes here, I feel all of this stuff. Does that mean you want this person stalking you and you should feel great about it? No, we're not saying anything about that. Does it mean you shouldn't do anything? Absolutely not. Like, you have common sense. You deal with the actual life circumstance as it's happening. So this is not at all ever saying don't do anything about it. It's just in your head. No, not even close. But we're just looking at this specific question that you asked. I want to believe that other people and situations can't make me feel anything. And they can't. If they could make you feel something, Robyn, as long as this situation is, you'd be feeling that thing, like it would have that power, but it doesn't work that way. The situation is the situation over here, and then your mind over here goes all over the place, and we feel where the mind goes. And that's tough because we're looking at the situation a lot, and we're very used to being pointed to this being the cause. Like, we want to fix this so we can feel better. But again, that's the misunderstanding. So sometimes this is harder to see when it's us. Sometimes it's harder to see when it's high stakes and really emotional, like yours is, like it's a big situation like this. So see if you can see it in other places. See if you can notice it in any normal day for everyone, all of you. Like, see if you can just start to be onto the fact that you're just sitting around and your mind wanders off in a direction, and then you feel something. And then your mind wanders somewhere else and you feel that. Like, that's the real causal link. That's the causal thing that's always happening here. What we innocently and mistakenly do is pay attention to what our mind is talking about, and then we blame that. So if my mind wanders to, oh, it's Monday and I'm going to have lunch as soon as this is over, I just feel pretty neutral, maybe a little excited because I'm kind of hungry. I could look at that and say, oh, Monday makes me neutral, or Monday makes me excited, or lunch makes me neutral, or lunch makes me excited. No, my thinking just went there. That's it. It isn't about Monday or lunch. Now, again, it's easier to see in a dumb scenario like that, very, very different than when this is emotional and feels scary and all of this bigger stuff. But it's the same across the board for every human who ever lived, no exceptions. And that's where we just want to start to look. The more we look in any direction, the more we see evidence for it. And we've all been taught, just pointed by everyone around us, by the world out there, to look to what's happening around us, outside of us, and look at the correlation between that and how we feel, and then in our minds form this causal link that isn't actually accurate. And when we can see that, we don't need to change it. We don't need to go live on another planet where we aren't pointed in that direction. We can be normal humans, and the world can say, oh, this makes me happy and this makes me sad, and we can even join in those conversations. But when you can start to deeply know within you, no, thought makes me happy, thought makes me sad. In any situation, I can feel anything. Then you start to see more evidence of that. And there's a huge freedom that starts to come from that. Huge freedom, because now we don't need things to change in order to feel a certain way. You don't need this situation to change, Robyn. I hope it changes for you, of course, and do everything you can in your power to change it, you know, to make things easier for you. But you don't need it to change in order to feel anything. And I'm sure as long as this situation's been going on, you felt a range of stuff. So it can't be coming directly from that. So I hope this makes some sense. It's a sensitive thing to talk about, because I know when you're suffering and in pain, and you know, and it really looks like this is the cause, it's tough sometimes to see it differently. And sometimes people have a tendency to hear what I'm saying and take it on as kind of like, oh, so I'm doing this to myself. And no, I'm never, ever, ever are you doing anything, any of us ever doing anything purposely to hurt ourselves, or because we're wrong, or that we're to blame for any of this. It's just about seeing how things really work, because there's just a lot of innocent misunderstanding that we're caught up in. And the more we can see that real causal connection, see things more accurately, the freer we start to feel, the more options open up. Like you say, Robyn, the more creativity is going to come back in your life for your work and your life, but also for dealing with this issue. The more you can see that you're feeling your own thinking, and that's happening, but they're two separate things. So hope this has been helpful. Thanks so much for joining me back. I really missed doing this, and I'll be back here next Monday. Send your questions to askamy@thelittleschoolofbigchange.com, and I can't wait to answer them. See you soon.